Yeah.
Top of the motherfucking rainbow. I am your host, LaQueer, and you're listening to the topics of cancer, a podcast that is from the queer perspective of a Cancerian. And this is where we talk about queer topics all the queer time. Why? Because we need to Lego. Today, I have a treat for you all. I have a near and dear friend of mine. I call my light-skinned version of me. The name they go by is KB. We'll get into logistics as far as their pronouns and things of that nature. Today we're just going to dive in a bit on the perspective from the LGBT plus queer community and just mental health overall. And today I'm going to go ahead and let that be known now. So first off, I just want to welcome UKB to the show. Please let us know your pronouns, a brief synopsis of yourself, and 3 things that make you happy.
Well, thank you for having me, LaQueer. The pleasure is mine, I promise. My pronouns are she, they. I am masculine of center. I call myself queer because I don't want to limit myself to just being a lesbian. I open myself up to being queer and loving women and loving energies and souls. So, 3 things I love about myself. Okay, well, let me give you a quick little background. I am a firefighter. I've been a firefighter for 15 years. I hold the rank of captain currently, where I manage a firehouse. I have 2 daughters, 2 beautiful baby girls, 5 and 3. They keep me on my toes. I am recently divorced. Played basketball in college and lifetime athlete, I suppose. I played flag football. I played tackle football for a while, and just out here living my best little queer life.
I hear that. And so, as you say, you had 2 little ones. How is that? Being in the queer community. For some people, they may view it as being different. As far as them, do they just address you as mommy, or do they understand everything? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, the queer community, like, overall has been so supportive. At the time when me and my then wife were together, and she has a huge community and support system. I brought my support system in, and everyone was just so, because at that time it was less common. It's less common for queer families to have babies. It's starting to be more common. It's starting to be like more of a everyday thing, which is absolutely beautiful. I love it. My daughters refer to me as Mommy Mare, which is my real name. And then just their biological mom, they just say mommy or mom. But yeah. So they but they always say mommy, and we both turn around and look. So who knows,
Oh, no, that's understandable, because we know some people nowadays, they got, what is it, a glamour and different type of names. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, let the world know that basically we're the same type of people living the same type of life. We just love differently in the same sort.
And you know what? We have an opportunity, we have an opportunity to shape the life however we want it to look. You know what I mean? We have the luxury of, we don't have to follow the template that was set out before us. Whatever we want our kids to call us, they can call us that. We're breaking the cycle.
Yeah, we're breaking the mold here. All right, good stuff. Now I'll address you as KB throughout the time so that your name can remain anonymous, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Yes.
So we're just gonna dive into it straight on in. Just some topics on mental health today. Again, if you're not comfortable with any question, you can go ahead and just say, no, not that one, next. But today, let's go ahead and talk about your mental health, because I know sometimes most people don't ask that question. We normally ask how you doing and things like that, which is to me kind of it's kind of black and white. But when you do ask someone how's your mental, to me, that's like, you're actually trying to see where that person is and try to get a little understanding of them, if you don't mind.
That's a great question. Today where I am right now is, whew, where I am today is a complete. It's about a 180 from where I used to be. There was a very small time in my life when I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't see the point of life. The pain was so great. The emotional pain was so great, and I didn't know what to do with my feelings. And I thought the best thing would just to not feel anymore.
Wow.
But God and the universe has bigger plans for me.
I hear that.
And so I got through that situation and, got on the journey to look for a therapist. Unfortunately, it took about 9 years to find for the therapist. Honestly, for the therapist to find me, I prayed to God. I prayed with tears in my eyes that I needed help, and that I needed help finding a therapist, and a little bit of patience. And the therapist that came to my job through our behavioral health system, through the fire department. She came from Georgia, and when I tell you that woman was heaven sent, she just really helped me unpack a lot of issues that I knew of and issues that I didn't know of. But just, one of the analogies that she helped me use was like clearing out your garage. You know how the garage turns into the junk place. You move into your new space, and whatever that could be, your garage, that could be that room in the back of your apartment. Everyone has that one space where you just, everything that you don't even know what to do with yet, you just throw it back there, and then hopefully eventually you get to it, and maybe you never do. She helped me unpack that room and helped me pull out all of the boxes and things that I didn't know. I forgot that stuff was in that box. I don't need that anymore. I can't even fit that. It doesn't even fit me anymore, And that, when I tell you, like, when she did that, she cleared up so much space in my heart and in my mind for life to live.
Wow. And that is amazing. And I know you had spoke on about no longer wanting to be here. I believe a point in everyone's life, they go through that, where it's just either too much to handle or it's just too traumatic for them. I too had the same type of experience where it just felt like no matter what it is that I did or done, nothing seemed to go right. And I'm happy that you are here and that you were able to get the help that we all so need, and to actually put a face to being in therapy or getting therapy, which we especially within our generation, within our time, is something that's frowned upon, because in order for you to see it, you have to be crazy or sick, insane. But some of the people who have the biggest smile on their face are the ones that need the most help, from what I understand. And then the same thing, my sister, she helped me out a lot. I was going through something horrible, and it took me to go to a mental health hospital and to look around and see people like, yeah, okay, I am good. I am 100% good. But it took me that time to actually get away from my family, to get away from friends, to actually not have any type of connection with the internet or anything like that at all. So I would tell anybody, if you want to, get off the grid for a bit, if you gotta go to a mental health hospital, that's perfectly okay. But if you want to just disconnect for a while, that is 100% a good way to go, to not only help find yourself, but to connect back with the real world, so to speak. Now, with that being said, We're speaking on mental health. Why do you think people stigmatize mental health, especially within the people of color? We'll say that community, as well as the LGBT community.
Oh, that's a heavy question. That's such a heavy question because mental health, especially in the Black community, it's been for so long. I mean, mental health and how it's affected Black people goes back to, you know, the systematic oppression, systematic racism. You know, where, you know, somebody was different, or someone had like you know, let's say that nowadays we'd call them bipolar diagnosed, or nowadays we'd call them perhaps schizophrenic, or there would actually be a mental health diagnosis for them. Back in those times, you know, they would just abuse them severely to the point of even death. And so culturally, you know, well, we're not gonna say anything. We keep that boy, keep that girl away from, you know, being noticed that they're lame, essentially. And that practice of survival that, you know, that had to be done in order for Black people to survive so much. That just became, mental health just became wrapped up in that survival tactic, and then it became a matter of like, well, we're not gonna, whatever happens inside this house is gonna stay inside this house. And you don't, nothing's wrong with you. You just need Jesus. All of that stuff is wrapped up into the beginning of slavery, of racism, and not just, and there's reports nowadays that are coming out, and we've always known this, that medicine, modern medicine, especially Western medicine, has not been designed for Black people. It's been designed mainly for Europeans, and because they were not trying to find cures for Black people, they were trying to find cures for white people. And so if a mental health condition does not affect enough white people, then certainly Black people are not going to get any help in that regard. So you know, just full circle back to, you know, Black people it's just been a matter of nothing's, you know, keep this in the house. Nothing's wrong with you. You know, we'll just pray on it, and it'll get better. And then the person they drink themselves to death, or they abuse drugs, and hurt themselves and hurt others.
Yeah, I do agree with that, especially as far as the quote unquote modern medicine was not geared for us. And I totally believe that there can't be a pill that one person can take that can treat, you know, the same symptoms, because we all have different body chemistry, different genetic makeup. So in my frame of mind, whenever it comes to anything like that, it's more like there's different symptoms and there's different effects on everybody, and especially nowadays with the world that we're living in, the symptoms. I mean, the effects are worse than the symptoms themselves. So even as far as you were speaking about medicine and, you know, cures, again, it was not designed for us. It was actually trying to set us up to, you know, kind of deteriorate our numbers, so to speak. However, it did not. And again, I always ask this question. Like, I was speaking to my partner the other day, and I said, what is it about us, people of color, and that's, you know, all people of color, that makes, you know, other people feel like they have to be inferior? You know, it's what do we do besides just being who we are, you know? But that's a whole nother topic for
I could go down that rabbit hole with you too, buddy. I promise you I could.
I'm like, that is maybe next time we'll dive into that. That is a good one.
Yeah.
No, but and as you were saying though, speaking on mental health and things like that, that you got the help that you so needed and things of that nature. Now, speaking on mental health within the queer community, do you think that that affects us in a way? Because I know some people, well, you grew up this way because, being essayed or anything like that. Or, I mean, I can speak for myself that happened, but that wasn't the reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that sometimes, or not believe, but what are your views on mental health as far as within the
The
LGBT
queer
community and
community,
how it affects
there's a part of me. The queer community is right in front of my face, right? I live it. That's the world that I live in, and so I could say with uncertainty that mental health affects the queer community tremendously. But
you?
I honestly, I think mental health affects every culture, every part of society, rich, poor, young,
Mhm.
old. I think mental health affects everybody. And because to me, when we're talking about mental health, you know, somebody that has a millionaire,
Mhm.
billionaire, all the money in the world, but they have an addiction to drugs and alcohol.
Mhm.
There's like literally mental health mental health issues touches every single person on this planet.
Mhm.
And even the ones that are in the temples and the monks and doing the praying, that's why they're praying. That's
Mhm.
why they are in their practice, because they are trying to protect their mental health.
Right.
Literally, the disease touches everyone. It's just a matter of whether we're going to fight the disease, and it's a matter of, some people have it worse than others.
Mhm.
You know, but we all have some sort of mental health issue.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I truly believe that I have a slogan, or I seen a slogan rather, that says an invisible disability is still a disability, and that deals a lot with people who have anxiety, which most people claim that it's something else, but uh, in the world that we're living in, especially now in today's society and how we have quick access to information, I believe that the heightened levels of anxiety amongst people of our age and even younger has grown because of the fact of that instant information access that we have a hold of, and it makes people a little bit more aware. However, I believe that the more aware you are, the more alert that you're going to be, and of course, you're going to see everything as an either a flight or fight moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I totally agree with you on that there. Now, as far as and we're living in a society now where everybody is woke or awake or anything like that. The question I have is, are you on a healing journey? And if you are, where are you? If you don't mind sharing that, and when did you discover that you were on or starting your healing journey?
Man, these are great questions, LaQueer. These are fantastic questions, buddy. I so my healing journey started in 20. Well, it started in 2012, but you know, it didn't really take off until 2021.
Mm.
Yeah, I think about 2021, when I first met my therapist.
Mm.
And I was so I was so hopeless, which is crazy for me to feel hopeless, because I'm such a hopeful person.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I felt hopeless, and then by the end, by our 12th session, because it was through my EAP, behavioral health work recommendation. Um, it By the end of those sessions, I started to believe in God again.
Mhm.
I started to love myself again. I started to forgive my family.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
for all of the things that they did and that they didn't even realize they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now the phase that I'm in currently, I've continued to. I do this healing thing every day. I do it like
Mm-hmm.
I work out. You know what I mean? I treat it like I don't hit the weights hard every day. I take rest days from constantly being in a state of journaling and writing and meditating and praying. Like I try to do things in balance as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'm in this phase where I don't feel like I need to be constantly like reading up on some healing thing or
Mm-hmm.
listening to some healing pod. That was me in the beginning. I needed it.
Right,
In the
right.
beginning, I was listening to like Jay Shetty and
Mm-hmm.
Alex L. and
Mm-hmm.
what's his name? Joe Lewis, or what's his name? One of the guys. Anyway,
Yeah, I understand.
but now I'm like, okay, I got a lot of stuff, and the
Mm-hmm.
answers within you. That was the thing too. I learned, like, you know you know what you need to do. The answer
Right.
is inside of you. And
Mm-hmm.
so now I'm in this phase of trusting myself, learning to trust myself, and putting that trust to the test.
That's wonderful, and I worded it that way because for me, I didn't know I was on my healing journey until, I mean, I was already on it, but I didn't realize that I was, and it's shown in how I responded to certain things. Because I'm a big person now on responding versus reacting, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe once you get to that point in your life where you no longer react, you respond because it takes you to be active in listening to yourself first, again, because the answer lies within you,
Yes.
and being able to see it as a whole and not just one-sided, to have both perspectives of what's going on. And I believe that's when you can truly begin your healing journey, because it is a journey, and or a wellness journey, what have you, because every single day there's going to be something. Like, there is off days. There are times when I say to myself, you know what, today I just want to soak. Today I just
Mm-hmm.
want to have a day where I look out and just think of things that happen and just go over it. But I'm learning not to stay in that, because sometimes we can get
Mm-hmm.
complacent in that area. But it's learning how to say, okay, a couple of hours there, maybe today I'll do it, but
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow we're getting back on track.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, and we're gonna go on to the next portion here, which I call all about family. Now, understanding that we are both queer community here. Now, I would love to hear the story of your experience on coming out to your family, if you are out fully, and how did they react when you shared that part of yourself with
I did not officially come out to my family till I was in my late 20s, but I've
them?
always been a tomboy. I've always liked how I looked. I've also brought home guys before, and I brought
Mm-hmm.
home girls before, but I never came out to my parents until in my 20s, or yeah, my late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I So there was a point in my life where I was a part of a religious organization,
Mm-hmm.
where I was denying my sexuality because I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was what I was supposed to do as a good Christian.
Right, right.
So in that process of joining this religious organization, when I decided that I could no longer live in that lie, I needed to live in my queerness.
Mm-hmm.
I came out to the elders, and I was disfellowshipped from the organization. Um, and in turn, my mother and my twin sister and parts of my family that were a part of the organization uh, were could no longer associate with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so about that was about 12 years ago. And there were folks that weren't a part of it, but they just banished me, if you will, from, I just wasn't invited to anything anymore. I have a big family, by the way. My mom has, three brothers and a sister, and all of them have kids, and we were just a tight family. Always got together for stuff. Yeah, so that was tough. That was a really, really dark time in my life. That was how I came out. Um, you know, Fast forward to today, the relationship between me and my family is on the mend. It's a slow mend, but it's a mend nonetheless, which is what I never thought we'd get to. I just thought forever we'd be estranged.
Yeah, that's a tough topic too, because I know a lot of us in the queer community, the majority of us who are Black, we either grew up in apostolic, AME, we either grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, and it's always that part of us where we feel guilty for adapting to something that we were taught that, if this is who I am, I should be accepted in all things. And I just think that it's very important to have a face and a voice to let those out there who are trying to come out and who are saying, well, I'm a Christian, but it says this and that and whatsoever. And I won't get into religious politics because that's a so messy subject.
Mm-hmm.
But I, for one, would tell anybody that when somebody told me that there's no heaven or hell no one could put me in but the Creator, the Source, who created all things, and to just encourage them that, at the end of the day, we all have our crosses to bear, and that it is okay as long as whatever you're doing is not destructive to anyone around you or to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a couple of people that are fighting against it, and the age-old saying where, most people are upset about it because you have the tenacity and the integrity to be able to step out there on that limb where they didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Or weren't able to. I know for me and my family, it took them a while, and even still till now, it's like they accept it, but they just know in the back of their mind that I'm gonna get married. I'm like, Mom, I'm tapping on 50. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. But yeah, it's just to let people out there know that just keep doing what it is that you're doing, and just at the end of the day, all you have is yourself, and that's what you make happy first and foremost. And even tapping in onto that there, as far as with the All About Family, the big thing going on with masculine presenting or being masculine of center. And this whole age-old thing where there's a competition with one another, and the main thing that I don't understand is what I just now got to understand now is the whole mass and mass or stud on stud have you. What are your views on that? Because I for one, I don't understand how they can say that two masculine presenting females being in a relationship is gay. That's kind of asinine and ironic. But anyway, what is your view on that?
I think it's a beautiful thing, man. I do. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think that the more free and the less you care about what other people think, the closer you're going to be to finding the most beautiful things in this world.
Wow.
The less you listen to other people's fears and projections and negativity, the more you find what makes you happy. You open your world up to finding some of the most beautiful things about this world. But you can't keep living your life listening to everybody else. You can't. I mean, do it and tell me how happy you are. Put yourself in the box. You know what I mean? Put yourself in the box of everyone telling you how to be, what to look like, what to wear, how to talk, how to be more Black, how to be more gay, how to be more of this. You're not gonna live a happy life. So you know what? If two masculine, two studs, two doms want to be together, like, be happy. It makes them happy, man.
I totally agree with that because it took me a while growing up because I'm like I said I'm 42, and the age when I was growing up, it was like a no, which I didn't understand because I was following the rules and regulations, I guess, of whatever quote unquote, how to be a stud book. But the older I grew, the wiser I got, and said that at the end of the day, if we are lesbians, if we are non-gender conforming, if we're gender fluid, whoever it is that we love is what we love. We speak about
Mm-hmm.
equality, but when it comes to relationships and who we're with, we have a judgmental ideology about it, which is, we already got enough being in the community already. We don't need to have anything, else added on to that. Um, and then just moving forward here, because it is going on to the 30-minute hour there, or second here. The last question that I want to present to you is just a question about relationships. And this is something that I ask myself before I'm entering into a relationship, or even if I'm in my relationship and I'm, questioning my motives. What have you discovered about yourself from your last relationship that has helped you in the present day? Would you mind sharing that experience?
Yeah. A lot of it again is centered around mental health. Not surprisingly, I
Mm-hmm.
learned I learned how to communicate differently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I learned what bad poor communication. Learned what poor communication sounds like. From me being the sender of the poor
Mm-hmm.
communication, and I've learned what poor communication is receiving it back at me, and um, so moving into my next relationship, and any relationship honestly where there's
Mm-hmm.
high stakes communication, any emotional communication, I learned how to be more self-aware before entering these relationships or these situations where communication does not feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
being prioritized.
Yeah, I have to. I know I've learned now in my relationship because I can say this is the first healthy relationship I've been in. And I say that because we get into these relationships, and I say they don't get toxic until we realize that we're toxic ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And learning that you can actually have a disagreement. And I don't say argument because that's different for me than a disagreement. But you have a
Mm-hmm.
disagreement with your partner, and y'all can still communicate with each other. You might be upset for a while
Mm-hmm.
because words are being said, but you still have love and understanding for that partner. And it took me a minute to get used to that, and I was so scared of ruffling any feathers because of previous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And learning that I'm trying to communicate, and this person either is not willing to understand my communication,
Mm-hmm.
or they just really not, connected on that communication level as I thought that they were.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I always ask myself that question whenever I'm either entering into any relationship, whether platonic or romantic, to see if there's anything that I'm repeating from the last relationship that I can change with new relationships, friendships, or however that may be there.
Yeah.
Right. And I do thank you for you. You have some excellent answers. I really do thank you for that.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
again, I do thank you for your time. I am not going to keep you long. Like I said, I try to do these at least 20 to 30 minutes. No more, no less. I try to get straight to the nitty gritty of the questions here. I would love to have you back and do another session where we can, get a little bit deeper on some
Yeah.
questions there. Because, like I said, I call you my light skinned version of me because, yeah, it's a lot of we think alike and great
Yeah.
minds think alike. So,
Yeah. And you have good
again,
questions too. Great questions, man. I appreciate them.
yeah, you know what? Thank you. I tell you what. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. The universe wouldn't let me sleep, so I was like, okay. And so I'm on my computer and I'm typing out the questions and saying, oh, okay, all right, cool. This is all right. Yeah. This is good, and I'm just, I'm on this path now where, if, like I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. It was supposed to start with three of us, and now it's three separately. So, however the universe allows it is how the universe is allowing it, and I'm just learning that it's better to let things naturally go as they should than to force things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there anything that you want to leave the listeners here with, or anything that you want to say?
Oh man. Figure out figure out what your boundaries are. Find out what your boundaries are. Hold to them true and let peace be your guide.
Okay. Wise words being spoken. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it. I like it. Well, again, I do thank you all for tuning in today. This is the Queer Perspective. I call this the Queer Perspective series. Again, you have listened to a KB, who is a wonderful friend of mine. I know we use that word loosely, but the older you get, the more you understand what a true friend is. And again, I do thank you, KB, for spending your time here. I know you are a busy woman. You are a mother. You're a hard worker. I do salute you for all that you do in the field that you are in. Which is a very hard field. I don't know if I can be running up and down with tanks and stuff like that. But you're a wonderful, phenomenal person, and thank you for coming into the podcast, Topics of Cancer, again, where we talk about queer topics all the queer time. Why? Because we need to. And just remember, as I always say, if no one had told you before, I love you, you love you, we love you, and always remember, be true, be you, unapologetically. Until next time, all is well.